there we are.
Look at us. So it's a little bit like, welcome everybody. It is Thursday afternoon, evening for some of us. If you're on the other end of the world, maybe you're just getting up. Welcome. And I'm James O'Hagan. I am the host of the Academy of Esports podcast. I'm also the director of digital and virtual learning for the Racine Unified School District. And with us this week, we have, I will go this way.
Oh, okay. That's me. I'm Carrie Linden, also known as Chuck Muju on Twitter. I am the communication specialist for Liminal Esports. I used to run the just sort of Twitter chat version of this panel. And feels weird. I'm an ex-middle school teacher, but I think I just need to actually just get that out there. I don't think I'm going back. We'll see.
Ooh, official announcement.
I think it's done.
If we go Brady Bunch style and go down here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bradford Harris. On Twitter, I am Ed Tech Tinker. I am the coordinator of digital innovation for Aldine ISD in Houston, Texas. Just recently promoted. And for TexF, Texas Scholastic Esports Federation, I'm the Chief Learning Officer, which is basically a long title for Curriculum Director.
All right. And then I get this one's easy down here.
It really does feel like the Brady Bunch. Hi. My name is Angelique Gianas. I am an English teacher at Helix Charter High School, and I am also our advisor for our esports program, both casual and competitive, and I am an ASEF Scholastic Fellow. Well, I guess I was a fellow. It's over now, so.
I think once a fellow, always a fellow, perhaps.
Yeah.
Right?
And since we brought that up real quick, because I know that NASEF is promoting that right now, is coming up here. July 31st is the cutoff for this year's group of fellows. Can you really quickly just kind of talk about what that experience was and what it was like, and give it a little self-promotion? Because I know, like I said earlier, Jarrell is probably going to pop in at some point.
Yeah. I mean, basically what it is an opportunity for educators and people who are involved in the esports education realm to come together in a fellowship and work with NASEF to develop curriculum. So I developed some SEL and gaming curriculum for the San Diego County Office of Education. There's people developing curriculum for esports in English and competitive clubs and all sorts of stuff. And it was such a great experience. It connected me with so many people, including all of you wonderful people. And if you're interested in esports and education, either running an esports team, a club, or including esports and gaming into your curriculum as a teacher, it is a great opportunity. So highly suggest it. Highly suggest it. And I'm applying to be a Scholastic mentor for next year. So I hopefully should still be part of the program.
All right. And I know that in my school district, I've got, I think, 4 of my general managers, they're interested or are signing up. And I know too, just if you're thinking about doing this and you're waiting until the last minute, one of the key things I found out today in conversation with Jarrell is that you have to have an administrator also write a letter. So don't, at this time of year,
don't wait
until July 31st and ask for a letter. That's 8 days from now.
Especially right now with the way that's,
Why? What's going on? What's happening?
Oh, it's just a regular year pumping up for the school year. Definitely don't wait. I've heard there's going to be quite a bunch of people applying too. So from around the world, which is awesome.
No, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I loved too, when I looked at who they brought on last year, it was, there's the Chris Avilas, the person who's literally helped write a book on esports and education and has done a bunch of stuff. And then, there's people who have almost zero experience, but they have a passion, they have a love, and it's learning from each other. You don't have to be, this isn't like some Apple distinguished educator or Google, whatever they call their thing. I think NASEF has done a really good job of diversifying, which I know is a very important thing that we need in esports right now, but diversifying the pool of people who are involved in that. And I think that's really important that they've done that work.
Definitely. Yeah. people that I definitely wouldn't have met otherwise, for sure, and opportunities that I would not have had otherwise, which is really awesome.
Very cool. Well, we have nothing to talk about this week because
stream's over.
everything in the esports world and the education world is just calm.
Peachy.
It's the end of summer. Summer school's wrapping up for a lot of people. I know. Oh, no, wait. That's not true. We have a few things to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Well,
what do we want to tackle first?
Oh,
We've got a request to cover cloud gaming. We've had kind of the continuation of issues that we've been hashing over for the last few weeks. One of which is a particular game that quickly made its debut onto the internet and then almost immediately began to be redacted. So yeah, what do we want to dig into first?
Well, if you don't mind, I'm trying to deal with. So tonight we are using StreamYard, which is great. Everything's fabulous, right? Problem is, I can't see the chat right now for some reason. It's not popping up. Well, you've got it. I've got it.
Yeah, I have it open too.
Yeah. Oh, look at you people. All right.
I have it split screen,
It's the streaming thing. I got like everything open. Yeah. I've got TweetDeck, I've got Twitch, I've got
and it's probably because I am experimenting with using we are streaming two locations, not just Twitch, but we're also throwing it over to YouTube just to see, what it works, how well it works. So I probably screwed up everything as far as
do you not have if you open the comment section, everything's there?
You see it? Because I don't.
Oh yeah. Yeah, are you on private chat or are you in the comments?
No.
I'm in the comments. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, yeah, everything's there.
That's pretty cool. I didn't even see that.
I'm not going to hit refresh. How's that?
Here we go.
Maybe if I post a comment. Hello. See what happens.
Yeah,
there you are.
Hello.
Well, yeah, but I think it's also going into YouTube. So
everything's pulling in here.
I will contact. Oh, look, okay. Now I'm starting to see some comment threads coming.
There you go.
Look at me.
Just needed to get started.
All right.
Yeah, this is the first time we've used this particular platform, which is really kind of an awesome one. I think we might end up sticking with it, but yeah, we're going to figure out the kinks.
Given that Kevin Brown is in the chat tonight, I think it's important that he see how this is working, because I know that Kevin has done some work with Compton schools, and he was challenged, greatly challenged this summer to produce an esports summer program using only Chromebooks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when I was looking at this tool, it's called StreamYard. And Danielle Johnson told us off channel last week about this because, we've been trying to do all this OBS stuff and it was very taxing. This has been, I think, because I ran a shoutcast thing for League of Legends finals for our state on Saturday using this service for 3.5 hours, all web-based. And if you have a Chromebook, this is something that if you're a kid, you can get right into this and not have to deal with the, the OBS setup and everything that doesn't run on Chromebooks. This can all be run through a web browser,
right,
and then tied right into your stream service. So you don't have to do anything at all. I think it's been great and free to try out. And when I contacted the company, they were willing to give me an educator discount, though it still is.
Okay, so you did get an educator discount.
$200 for the year. But you can also try for nothing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if we want to start, should we start with Gamer Girl?
We should. So if you somehow manage to not get hit in the face with Gamer Girl, this video dropped late last week because it was after we actually had our last Esports EDU chat. I think within 10 minutes of this trailer being released, my inbox on Twitter started to explode from various educators and female content creators just asking if this was for real. And I think I spent 2 minutes Googling all the different, gaming news sources. And it's for real. It was being released or a trailer was being released on multiple different gaming information sites or press sites. So it all kind of went out, and then I want to say within 30 minutes we started to hear that it was being redacted or backtracked from various platforms. So, the video was getting pulled pretty quickly. So the kickback was pretty immediate. But if you haven't watched the video, we have the trailer.
Can't wait to watch it again.
Enjoy.
All right.
So great the first time.
All right.
I thought it was fake for a long time.
Hopefully the sound comes through for everybody. I believe it's supposed to.
Nope, there's no sound.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
Yeah.
No?
Nope, no audio.
All right. Wait. Okay. And hold on. I don't want to stop here. Okay. Wait a second.
This would be an inconvenient location to stop.
All right.
So, and that is one of the many things that I think are wrong with that trailer. But
let's
see. Disable audio processing.
Okay.
Shift videos up for comments. Camera. All right. Well, it doesn't look like we can do sound, so I'm gonna.
Man.
But what we could do is we could talk through this.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
that's
we
what I was about
absolutely
to
can.
say.
Because the audio isn't necessarily the most important part of it. Even without the audio, the video is
You could do
troublesome.
Closed captioning too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you're not familiar with the gameplay, you're basically functioning as this woman's moderator. There you go. For her live content. And you get to make these decisions with her and for her.
Yeah,
And
so your role is what?
And you're at a
You're her mod.
Yeah, you're her
You're her
mod.
mod. So
Yeah.
like if you're not, I don't know anybody here that's not terribly familiar with streaming. If you are a content creator, if you're a streamer and you stream consistently, you generally have at least one mod. Potentially you have an entire team of mods, and they're the people that sit in your chat and they make sure that everybody's interacting with you in an appropriate way. So they'll delete posts, they'll put people on timeouts, they'll ban people if they need to. They're generally going to be the team that helps you, one, protect your brand, two, keep your community safe, and help sort of make sure that everything stays how it's supposed to be. So you tend to have a very tight relationship with your moderators. This game digs into it in a really weird way. So as you can see, like part of what we're having to do is keep her safe, because I believe the concept is she's got basically a stalker sort of follower who's out to do harm to her. And I think her other streaming friend has disappeared. So something bad has happened to one female streamer, and now you're trying to prevent it from happening to your female streamer. But yeah, all the problems.
I saw someone explain it as like a Blair Witch Project kind of thing,
Yes.
and
it was touted as like a really good selling point. Like this is going to be the next like sort of Blair Witch Project. Like it's special and great. And I've also seen it marketed as a game that's meant to raise awareness.
Yeah.
For like what female streamers experience, which is immediately hit back with, well, really this is kind of capitalizing and exploiting what female streamers deal with and not really raising awareness.
I would also argue that it's normalizing it. Like,
yes,
this is just how it's going to be for you, and maybe you'll get killed by your stalker. Like, what?
Right. Well, and that's my concern, is like looking at the people who this game is marketed to. They're the same people that do this sort of stalkery, super clingy behavior. So it's really problematic for me because, yes, female streamers do run into this kind of behavior where you have to make sure that you don't get doxxed, that you have to keep all your personal information really private, because you've got these individuals that will get too personal and too close to you. And this game is encouraging that kind of a relationship. So you are is essentially marketing to the problem demographic anyways, which Angelique goes to the normalization of crossing those lines and having more of a controlling relationship with female streamers, which is what I think most female streamers are trying to get away from.
Right.
See, I'll be honest. When I first saw it, I went, "Oh, this is like an '80s, teen, Friday the 13th type movie where the kids all go to camp and,
Right.
then they get murdered, because they run into the house or hide in the closet. Don't just get in their cars and leave. No, they can't do that.
Right.
But that, again, that's also me being a 44, almost 45-year-old man who, again, grew up with these things. And again, it reminded me of Choose Your Own Adventure books. And it reminded me again of that stuff. So I can see where a 40, 50, 60-year-old gaming executive goes, oh, absolutely, let's greenlight that, because this is just taking that slasher genre from the 80s and just making it into a game now.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. I've already run into a few guys who've been excited by the plot. They're like, oh, this is totally playable. I would absolutely play this. And I mean, but again, that's part of the problem that we have is,
that's where we were talking, Carrie, on the side. And this is where I was on the side with James, but not on the side like how we were talking. And I totally 100%, Angelique and Carrie, get your point of view, because it's hard, because remember I told you, like, I'm torn because I'm like, ooh, I have my educator hat on. I have the educator hat on because, like, this is a perfect scenario of this is exactly what you should not do. How would I unpack this? And the conversation is, okay, should I buy this and unpack this as an educator to show the high schoolers, because that's who you wouldn't show this to a 5-year-old, obviously.
No. And you couldn't show it at a middle school level either.
Exactly, to show, all right, how this is what you should not do. But then we got into that topic of, okay, we're supporting the creators of it, though.
Right.
So what do you do? That's how I'm looking at it, but I'm like, but now I'm supporting the people who make it. So,
and I think that's a hard one, because I do think this is a game that should be unpacked, because there are a surprising amount of people who didn't find this problematic. And if you didn't find this problematic, it definitely needs to be walked through. And I think there could be some power in that, like in being able to kind of explain why exactly is this game challenging for people, like why immediately there was a knee-jerk reaction of like, no, you didn't, this didn't get past, okay, great, you did the release after weeks of how much, like, okay.
I mean, I think like I don't know if you guys saw, but they quickly snapped back, the game developers, and they said, this is like a learning game, right? This is a game to show like the experience that women, quote unquote, have on a streaming platform. And I think like my issue with it is not the premise of the game, because like as this woman in the gaming world and in the streaming world, Carrie, I'm sure like you definitely come into these situations in your chat.
Yeah.
But I think the issue that lies in it for me is the way that the woman is portrayed. Like they put a very hypersexualized girl who's in the just chatting thing, right? Who's like playing Mario Kart, like ha 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 with my friends. Like they're embodying this.
They're embodying the e-girl stereotype.
Streamer girl stereotype who's just on there, to be an object or to look like an object. And that's just where I'm like, that's not this is what happens to all women, regardless of how you're acting, what you're wearing, what you're playing, what you're doing, what you're saying. Like, I don't know. It's just
absolutely.
Man, let's stop. Let's keep it real.
They're playing. Well, they're playing to the stereotype.
No. Okay, let's keep it real. I'm gonna say it because if my daughter was here, this is what she would say. They put a blonde white girl in it.
That too.
That too. But you still gotta keep in mind, like that's what we're all told to be. I mean,
they put a blonde white girl in it. They put a blonde white girl in it. If my daughter was in here, every time we watch horror movies, we would always say, okay, so
horror movie,
where's the black people? Number one, the black people always die first, or there are no black people in it, or they're already dead. So when you first watch this 2 minute 2-minute preview, all I saw was 2 white girls and 1 white dude.
Yeah.
So number one, you just knocked out a whole target audience. If I watch this now, like I said, as an educator, I kind of want to look at this to unpack it. But you just knocked out a whole entire market of people who don't want to buy this game.
Well, that's just it. But there's so many problems. Like you definitely have the fact that it's a completely, color coded game. Like they've played into the typical stereotypes that we see, especially within horror films. On top of that, they've boiled down streamer girl to just be, the e-girl stereotype that I think as female streamers, a lot of us fight. Like it's hard to be a female streamer and make a career for yourself if you don't fit that stereotype, because that's what people are hungry for. On top of that, calling it, an educational game, like think of how many, like when Netflix first came out with their lineup of Black Lives Matter shows, and everybody was like, I'm sorry, but the shows that you're promoting aren't shows that are actually going to give us any education. These are fictional shows that show like the white savior point of view.
100%.
That's what this is the video game version of that. Oh, we're going to educate you on what women like deal with without like actually doing that. What they're really doing is capitalizing on it. They're not doing any education. Like maybe that one person will be horrified because they're a good person and they're watching it and they're playing through it and they're like, oh my God, this is bad. But most aren't. You're boiling it down to a game. You're playing through something that isn't going to have, like, I just don't see those learning moments boiled into this game when they're like, create or manage her drama. Like, no. Like,
and
no.
Kevin made a good point in chat. He said kids won't be able to separate the sarcasm from the teachable moment. A teacher would have to be on point to make a lesson of this, which I totally agree. I mean,
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that's where you talking about buying the game and unpacking it, that's the only way I think this game is going to have any power. The other thing that concerned me is looking at pictures of the dev team. It's a pile of guys. Are you really going to build this game to be teachable if you don't have women on your staff? Like saying that you've got 2 female, actors within the game, that doesn't cut it. Like that's not enough.
Let me ask this serious question. Let me just ask this. Where is the line? Okay. And let me preface that with Grand Theft Auto and and how people are depicted in that game, how women are presented in that game. But we're all, well, I know I am. I don't know if you all are, but Grand Theft Auto 6, whenever that comes out, you better believe I'm going to be the first one in line buying that game.
And I think we all know that Grand Theft Auto crosses a line.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all know it does. Like, it crosses a line. But Grand Theft Auto isn't just about that line. Like, Grand Theft Auto is a great sandbox game. Like, it's a great open world playground. There's more to its story than just the women in the game and the line it crosses with them. This game is just this line. Like that is all.
Well, actually,
like.
wait a minute. Y'all bring up a good question. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut y'all off. When you say, and I haven't seen, and I haven't seen a teaser for a Grand Theft Auto. I haven't seen a teaser for a Grand Theft Auto 6 or whatever. But because of everything that has happened now. Yeah. Because of everything that has happened now, when a Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out or whenever anything comes out, it's time to start questioning. So when we see a black character or a white character or a Latino character of a Grand Theft Auto 6 or a horror game or whatever, and they're looked a certain way, maybe it's time to start questioning. Maybe you shouldn't do that anymore. Maybe it's time to say we're not going to tolerate that anymore.
Well, and that's something that I was going to bring up is GTA has been around for so long, and it's been sexualizing women and,
people are
demoralizing women the entire time. That is like for that game genre and for the people who play that game, that's just part of the game, right? Like, and I think, and I don't think it's okay.
And it's not
but
part
I think
that you have to participate in either.
Yeah, totally.
No, you can opt out. Yeah.
And I think, like Carrie, like you were saying, like that's just one part of it. It's not the whole thing, but that's still not okay, right? And I think that's the way that our world is shifting. Like we're recognizing, like GTA and a bunch of other games, right? They hypersexualize females, and that just reinforces a stereotype, and then it leads to all of these things. So like, it's something we need to break down and address, essentially get rid of it eventually, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, it's.
What if instead of live action, it was like let's say they took the GTA engine and made that.
It's still problematic. Like
I'm trying to. What I'm trying to figure out is
where's the line. So for me, like, if we're using GTA as the example, GTA is not a story about abusing, misrepresenting, and assaulting women. It's a game about a lot more. Granted, a lot of its undercurrents are right. It's a very negative. Like, there's so many issues that exist within GTA, especially if you're an educator. But the game itself is not built on that one thing. When you're looking at Gamer Girl, it is built on this one thing, and that one thing is essentially the exploitation of this girl. So you've got a game that has other stuff to it. We can debate the validity of those items, but it does have other content. This other game kind of doesn't really, because if you go like, well, it's a horror game. Well, yeah, but it's a horror game whose whole premises wraps around this girl. It's suspense, yes, but it all wraps around, like this girl being stalked, harassed. Like, any way that you try and look at this game, it really all boils down to that one thing, which is this hypersexualized, super stereotypical gamer girl, and how she's being exploited, targeted, and harassed. And like, that's it. As far as I can see, that's it. So
it's where the line is it is taking an existing stereotype and only reinforcing it.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I understand their thought in like trying to make this happen, but
I'm glad we're having this conversation because like I said, I'm sorry, Angelique.
No, you're fine.
I'm glad we're having this conversation because we're having it. I want people to realize too, we're having this in a very honest way. Notice, I don't think we do enough right now to talk through these things. The Twitterverse says this is bad, and then people question it and they get yelled at and quote unquote canceled. Whereas I look at this and go, okay, explain to me how it's bad, because I see parts of it and I can see where it's problematic, but also at the same time, I don't see why it should necessarily at the outset, the original thought, why would this be, people want this to be banned?
And I think the other issue with this is the exploitation of trauma. I mean, we've been talking about that in relation to Black Lives Matter. And I think we've finally all come to the realization that like, we can't do that in this particular, situation. So why is it okay to then do it in Gamer Girl? Because that's essentially what you're doing.
Me too, as well.
Yeah. Like it's we should get out of that habit. We should get to the point where we're like, okay, no, this is trauma. We treat this differently. Like we don't gamify it. We don't, try and make money off of it. It's
not something you play through to have fun. Like, well, and I understand like the realistic experience and trying to build empathy through that game, or thinking about your actions. Like maybe that was their intention for people to learn that. But again, like Carrie, you were touching on like the developers, it's all men. Well, why aren't they reaching out to, top female streamers and asking them, what was your experience like? How did it make you feel? Right? Where did you go from there? And I think it's just like so cheesy. And I mean, I guess a marketing ploy to like culminate into this, like the stalker's going to kill you kind of horror film. But like, what about what really happens? Like when you show up to TwitchCon and somebody follows you and makes you feel unsafe, like why is there not more realistic the female streamer who is in all these different aspects of esports and incredibly successful, yet is still being boiled down to this sexualized women? That's all you're good for. Like, I don't know.
No, that's just it. And I feel like they obviously interviewed a female streamer. I think they even have one in the cast, But then, like, that's the difference between talking to somebody about the trauma that they've experienced and then walking away and thinking that's enough. Like, if you don't have them in that entire process, you're going to be able to build a game that you think is educational, but really isn't. You know, it's just gamifying trauma, like, because you're not really taking away what they need you to know. Whereas if you've got people who've experienced it on the staff, they can sit there and go like, whoa, wait, okay, this is a game. Like, this isn't the direction that's going to make people stop and think and feel and process. We've just gamified, and now it's just an enjoyable way to, you know, cause harm to somebody else, or you know.
Yeah.
Well,
because you're right. I mean, think of how many times you go to TwitchCon and within like the first night you're reading people's posts of who's in the ER because they've been roofied at a sanctioned event.
Exactly.
I wanted on record that I went to TwitchCon last year and I was literally in bed, I think, every night by 11 o'clock.
I was too, but I brought my kid with me, so that makes everything very tame.
Well, I appreciate again that we can have this conversation in an open way, because again, my initial reaction was, okay, this is probably just a bad game. But again, because I am where I am, you know, my age, and I don't have a following and I don't deal with harassment or anything like that. I just, it's something that I didn't identify with right away. And I appreciate that. Again, we have the intellectual honesty and the transparency here to talk about it in these ways. And
he froze.
He did. We lost him.
Uh-oh.
But
never knew his final thought.
Carrie and Angelique, y'all are right too. Like, I know
hopefully other people too who are watching.
Oh, he's talking. I was gonna say
Sorry, for a second.
I was gonna say that people like me will, like I said, will unpack it for my kids, but that's because I'm in that teachable moment with both my son and my daughter, so they know that, okay, Dad, I'm gonna buy this, but I know you're gonna teach me like what's right and what's wrong. But there are kids who are just gonna go to GameStop or Stream or whatever and just get it and not learn from it.
No, so they're gonna download it, they're gonna play it, and it's just gonna be a game.
And then they're gonna go on Twitch or whatever, and then they're gonna start doing these things without really learning what's going on.
I'm curious. I mean, I saw that they like deleted everything, so I'm wondering if they're just pulling the release at all. Are they going to release it? Are they going to change it? Like, that's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I am too. I meant to go back this week before this and see if there'd been any formal announcement about whether or not they're pulling it, and I haven't seen that. I know that like the couple days after, they were still on the defense, like, you know, this was supposed to be this, and we had, like, they were still trying to defend the content. I don't know if they've actually pulled it or whether it's just going to be a very quiet release, which could happen. It could just be a game that gets released without any more fanfare than it received the short while it was live.
I think people are going to ironically play it now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, probably.
You know, it'd be top trending on Twitch.
Was it knee jerk when people called it out and they said, "Oh well, no, this is for like educational purposes"?
Oh yeah, it was because like the day it dropped, my phone was exploding. Like the female content creators, I had admins messaging me. I had teachers messaging me like, "What is this? What is this game? Like, is this actually for real?" And like very clearly it was. And then within just a short while after that, people started saying like, "Oh, well, maybe it's not because the videos are gone." I'm like, no, it is. Like, if you go to any of the gaming journalist sites, you'll see that the press releases are still there. Like the press releases still exist, the videos still exist, but a lot of the platforms had started to pull their particular press release or their video out because it instantly there was kickback. There was very, very aggressive kickback. People saw that and immediately took to social media to call out, you know, the game.
I just always wonder, like, how does it get all the way to that point? Like, did you not have a conversation with anyone?
It's what happens. Like, anyone? That's what the lack of diversity does to you.
That's
If
true.
you have a studio or you have a company that has
Mhm.
no diversity, that allows you to live in this vacuum, which means you can produce content that is extremely disrespectful to other populations and not even have a clue that you've done it.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
Valid point.
It happens
All the
all
time.
the time.
It does.
I mean, we've seen it how many times now just in the last month? We're like, well, that you published that?
Not okay. Yeah.
There was something. Oh God, it went out recently, and I can't remember what it was, but literally my response was, "Wow, it went out like that." Like you actually, there's an old Brian Regan. Brian Regan's this comedian, very clean comic, does some really funny stuff. I love his stuff. You can find him on YouTube, but he has this one bit where he's talking about the serving sizes of ice cream.
Yeah.
And he's like, who eats half a cup of ice cream? But that's the serving that's on there. And the joke is, he's like, hey, come here. I put this down here as a joke, but it went out like this. So, nobody checked. So, yeah, it's these things very easily get through. And a lot of times, too, because sometimes they're pet projects for people, or people don't have enough oversight to look at it and go, wait a minute, what you put this out like this? So, I mean, look at Riot Games. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Chat says you don't need a big bankroll to make these types of games. That's true. Not anymore, huh?
No, and it depends who you have reviewing them. I mean, again, you could easily show this to a room full of people and have everyone be, this is great, and not have anyone raise a red flag.
If they showed it to a bunch of 44, 45, 50-year-old who, again, just all they know about video games is growing up, and just see this and they go, oh, this is just horror movie. This is just Friday the 13th.
Absolutely.
They have no idea. But let's transition very quickly, because, there's amazing marketing that's going on right now in esports. And I was very disappointed this week about some of the marketing that I've seen come up. And I wanted to share with everybody here, because I feel that while we here in this group, and I think in education and esports in general, talk about the importance of equity of access. We saw when COVID hit and we did our shutdowns, exactly how that impacted a lot of our students who had no access to the games that they were playing, where leagues shut down, where we were scrambling. Carrie, you and I, we tried to do a parent thing for a while for NASEF, and we're trying to help people get through these times. But now it's become marketing for people to say, well, we know we need to do something different and better. And I have this story here, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen for everybody to see, because the FaZe Clan president departs and says it's time for gaming to clean up its act.
Wait, I didn't read this. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's
I
great.
didn't see this.
Now, I'm going to copy paste this and put this into the chat. I'll put it in the private chat so you can look at it later.
Less frat house?
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, they are known for being. Yeah.
So I looked at this and I was immediately drawn to this whole story, because I thought, you know what have we been saying on this show for the last couple of weeks? It's been all the dirty laundry's coming out. Everything is just, even just the other, what was it, last night, Carrie? I think I sent you two.
Yeah, two more people getting permabanned. Yeah.
Permabanned for grooming
minors.
Yeah, and it's bad.
Yeah.
And so you dig through this story, and here's the thing that really, I got to remember to go up here. Here's the thing that when I looked at this, first of all, look at the photo. Okay.
I mean, they are the social media bad boys of esports. That's been their niche for a while.
Well, but you can't have this photo. You can't have this headline. You can't lead off with we have to clean up our industry. And where was it? We realized that there's a huge void that needed to be filled in the gaming marketplace. Gamers from all walks of life and all backgrounds. But if you look at the current organizations, they sort of resemble a frat house. They're not reflective of the racial and gender diversity in the gaming world. And goes on, he hopes to recruit more LGBTQ members and promote and more people of color than most teams have so far. Great on paper. It's a great New York Times story. I immediately sought out this company, and I immediately dove into their Discord, and I am not going to put what I saw on their Discord up on screen for everybody to see. But let's just say their memes channel had 2 memes with derogatory terms in them that had been sitting for several hours. I jump into the general and said,
I could have told him, I don't know why you even entertained that. I could have told him just by looking at the picture what you were going to see.
and I jumped in. Well, here's what's really damning is I jump into their general and I say, hey, there's some really inappropriate things. And the response that I got from somebody was like this answered everything was, well, it's a Discord.
Yeah. And they were really inappropriate. Like,
right.
Especially coming off of everything we've come off of. Like,
even if I hadn't seen that, though, here's the problem. You can't say these things in a New York Times story, lead it off, got to clean with the gaming industry. And when I go in the Discord, it's the same old, I must say it, it's the same old shit. It is the same old. If you have an
NSFW channel in your Discord channel, like that alone to me is a bad sign. Like you really are. It's just talk. If you have that channel, you sorry, no, you don't. You're not going to walk the walk.
And you can't. Like we intend to have. Here's where I should have looked closer. We intend to have a very clear social mission of inclusion. You intend? No. If you're going to make this announcement, if the New York Times is going to cover you and put this out to the world on their website, you should have that stuff on lock.
It should be boiled in already.
Yeah, you can't. What's the thing I always lead off my presentations with? You become responsible forever for what you have tamed.
Yep.
Right? They have come in and said, we are taming the cleaning up of the industry. We are taming the inclusion and diversity. And yet you step into their platform and it is, I can't wait to buy all the merch. Oh, I can't. Well, look at this cool shirt. Oh, you spent all that money to develop merch, to do marketing, to make together a really slick video presentation to launch.
Yeah.
And you did no work on any of the stuff that you say you need to clean up and fix.
No. And if you had walked into that Discord channel, there's an entire population of people that would have taken one look of the memes channel and been like, I'm not welcome here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not welcome here. And they would have bounced. And now you have this, again, a very white vacuum. Like.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys have, when I say you guys, I mean everybody. I'm saying that in the general sense. If you have not taken a look at it, it's available. You can go right into the Discord right now and take a look and see what you see. And again, when I did report these things, eventually they were taken down. But again, you get one chance to make a first.
Yeah, they're going
to one chance to make a first impression, and my first impression was that, and then it was, the mods are there's no mods available. What do you mean there's no mods available? If you've got the money again to do a slick video,
you have a lot of
mods.
Merch,
you have money.
Get a mod.
Yeah. You just don't care.
Have one there 24 hours. You can get an intern to be a mod for your company.
Hit the different time zones. Well, and the thing I think that's important to remember too is like if they're talking about being inclusive to gender diversity and LGBTQ plus, you gotta keep in mind that once you allow one kind of hate speech within a platform, it sends a clear message to everybody else too. So like the memes that when you screen capped and shared, like those might not particularly apply to me. But I can tell you, as somebody who fits into the LGBTQ community, that already gives me like a warning that this community is not accepting. Like, if this is how you talk about this population of people, well, it's just a matter of time before you're coming for me. Like, and then same thing, just being female. Like, if it's okay to say these things about one demographic, then obviously it's okay to say them about others. So you might be like, well, it's just this. Like, it's not just that. You've set a tone that this kind of behavior is acceptable, and that's going to carry across to all the other demographics that aren't the majority. So you pretty much completely get rid of the whole inclusiveness that you're trying to build your brand on.
Well, I'm going to say this. So, like I told you on the DM, James, I don't know why you entertained going in it, because I was going to tell you exactly what it was,
like,
what I saw on it. I don't know the Discord, the demographics on there, but with the picture that you showed, I'm sure that there are other demographics that are of males. Maybe some females are on there, but they are not. And I can only assume. And you know what happens when you assume. But those kids of that particular age let stuff sometimes slide.
Yeah.
When I talk to my own kid, this is me talking to my children yet again, everybody. That's just this real kind of conversation that I have. When I talk to my son in particular, sometimes, and for those Twitch people out there, I'm just going to keep it real. Sometimes, if you scroll back up to that picture, James, sometimes he is, and I'm going to keep it real, he is the only one in that group.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it is rough when they blurt out the N-word. And he just stands there.
Mm-hmm.
And does he let it slide?
Mm-hmm.
Or does he address it?
Right.
And I'm not there in those conversations, so I can't be super dad and say, no, you need to do this and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it's what's real out there in these streets and in these virtual streets.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a very tough conversation, because do you sit back and say, yeah, that's cool for my friends to say the N-word because that's what's popping, that's what's hot? Or do I stand up and say, nah, man, that's not that's not cool?
And it's hard to stand up to your friends for for adults even. And then you take it for children, especially teenagers, which are in this period of development that is all about, you know, pulling away from the family unit and diving into the social peer unit. You know, it's very risky to stand up, to be the one that stands up and goes, no. Like, that's unacceptable. We don't do that.
It is. And just hard. And I don't mean to cut you off, just to keep it real here, because I'm looking at BBS Fryman. He's talking about I'm usually the only one, and we can tell you, speaking for this sector, it's hard for us to be the only one and to open our mouth and speak up, because sometimes when we are the only one, we get criticized for the things that we say and for the things that we do. So when we go like this and don't say anything, then he's just cool, he's not gonna say anything. But then when we start opening our mouth and say, you know what, James, that ain't right, that's not cool, Carrie, that's not cool, then we might get shunned. We might say this.
I think you get pegged for being difficult. Because I feel like it resonates for me just as a woman. Like same thing, you know, when we're having conversations, it's like, dude, that's horribly sexist. Well, all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, you're not the cool one. I'm like, well, no, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm really cool, but that's not.
Well, and I can only imagine what it's like for somebody who is just entering these groups or these companies who has been wanting to work for them or whatever, right? And you are in that position where it's like this, something said, and then it becomes awkward to you, and you're like, oh my God, do I say anything? Do I wreck this friendship? Like, are they going to see me as problematic? Blah, 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 whatever. And then you just, it's quote unquote easier to then just be silenced, which then to other people is communicated as acceptance or it's fine. It's really not fine. And I think that's kind of what we've seen blow up, right? Like, no, I was afraid to say something and it wasn't fine. And here's why. Like,
well, I want to just pull it back to this, because again, these are some very strong statements, and I know I can't let this go, because if you're not going to read this article, at least hear this. We intend to have a very clear social mission of inclusion. We want to stand up for kids who have been bullied or feel that there's not a gaming organization for them. We want our organization to look like the youth of America. He goes on, we will support Black Lives Matter, environmental consciousness, and mental health awareness. Oh my God, that is a marketing mishmash of crap.
Well, they obviously didn't follow through with it. I mean, from the screen caps of their Discord,
this is a part of
it's lip service.
This is a part of gaming culture that people who can't game care about, but is totally missing from the professional gaming lifestyle. Guess what? It's still freaking missing.
Well, and I don't remember who said this in chat a while ago, but they said people who read the New York Times aren't on Discord.
Right? Yeah,
so
they're
like
not.
people who are reading the New York Times, I mean, we are obviously, but like
They're gonna take us at face value and be like,
they're
"Oh,
like,
this is great."
wow, so
Yeah.
cool. Look at this movement. Look at all these great things the gaming community is doing. Which it's all sunshine and rainbows on paper in the New York Times, but
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me have my meltdown. I really appreciate that.
Good. Sometimes
Um,
meltdowns have to happen.
yeah,
do have
we
about
support
10
meltdowns.
We do have about 10 minutes left. By the way, I did figure out why we had no sound. We could put the Gamer Girl video back up so people can actually hear it and see it and listen to it if they want. Or we can start to wrap up. What would you like to do?
We
Do we
can
really?
bury
I guess,
that
do we have to
one,
go back
but-
and review the Gamer Girl video? I guess.
No, I don't.
Angelique, this was your first time here.
Yeah.
But since we have a couple minutes, I'm going to ask everybody this: where are you at right now with reentry?
100% distance learning.
You're in San Diego, right?
Yeah, I'm in San Diego, so it's a hot mess.
Yeah, California. Yeah,
Poor
we
hot
did
mess.
have our governor. Our governor did sort of step in and intervene. So
I just heard
that made
we passed up New York with cases, so
yeah, we're a cluster right now.
we're doing great.
Good times in California.
That's what I pay that rent for, you guys, right?
Right?
Right. Now, what are you going to do as far as esports, though? Don't know.
Well, I was still running my casual gaming club through Discord, and we were just meeting on Discord voice chat and we played Smash and just various other free games when they were available because I wanted to make sure everybody had access. But again, it comes down to the equity issue. Not all my kids have Nintendo Switches. Not all my kids have PCs. Some have PlayStation. Some have Xbox, whatever. So we played a little Fortnite because that's mobile. I'm pumped that Rocket League is going to be free.
Oh my God! How did we not talk
that's
about
exciting.
that?
That is huge.
That's going to be good for me. But as far as like the competitive aspect, everything is just so up in arms. I'm going to try and do what I can. But we'll see.
Yeah, that is an important thing too that you said too about Rocket League, and I'm stunned that all the other stuff we were talking about we missed and whiffed on.
Completely forgot it. Yeah, because that is huge news.
It is. Well, here's the thing is that it wasn't clear in the announcement about whether it's going to be free on all platforms, but I will say this, to have a developer that is at least a partner in education, because they're doing a lot of work with Steve Isaacs and they're doing listening sessions and things like that. Mm-hmm. To have a partner as a developer and one who's now saying, well, we're going to make our game available free. Yeah. Now that there's a channel, we can say, please make it free across all platforms, not just PC, because we see this being as a gateway game for middle schoolers, elementary kids.
Yeah. I love Rocket League so much fun. It's just like good fun.
It's something that it's something I could give my mom or my dad and say, let's just all play together, even if you stink.
Yeah. So good. I'm terrible at it, but it's so good.
Bradford, where are you at with things right now?
We, in my district, we are starting everything online. Everything's a go. We're just getting our teachers just educated on how to use our LMS, how to use the ed tech technology tools that our district has to offer. And I'm making sure that they don't run out and get all the discounted ones that will be out there on Twitter to use as a discount. So that's kind of where we're at. As far as esports is concerned, TechSef, we're about to get the ground running. We're about to launch in August with our pilot year. We're super excited about that. A lot of stuff is about to go down with the sign up in August for Texas. It's going to be a great year. And you know what? It's a cliche, but it is actually a great time to be in esports right now because however you want to look at it, however you want it to be designed, it is a great time to think about how you want it to look this year and the year after.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Had a long conversation with Kevin about that earlier today. So if you're interested in looking at what you want to do for your school or district, get with anybody like us or the esports ED community because, all right, Kevin, stop with that Dr. B. Harris. It's a great time to start thinking about what that would look like for your schools.
Yeah. There's lots of opportunities right now. Figure it out.
Well, and it's not
and
just
time too.
It's not just I'll say, in fairness to my role as director of digital and virtual learning, I will find out tomorrow if I'm going to have 2,000 students in a virtual program or if we're going remote. Because I can tell you that I've got about, out of our 18,000 kids, 25% have said no matter ifs, ands, or buts, we are not going back to into any kind of hybrid or anything, which means I could all of a sudden have this really expanded program. But what I will say is that the nice thing is that we are looking at esports. It's making us think. It's making us just not accept the Overwatch, Rocket League, Smash Brothers, League of Legends stuff. I again, taking the lessons learned from Jay Collins and Mischief games, and thinking about sorry, Carrie.
Well, no, we made our announcement this week, so
I don't know what that announcement is.
We announced that we're closing Mischief League.
But you can still think in those. But the lesson learned from that. Think in those terms.
Yes, absolutely. The model is extremely beneficial. The diversification of esports titles and how you structure your game.
And meeting your kids where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Exactly.
But can't really do that face to face this year, so that's why we're closed our doors.
Yes, but even in my role, again, as now I have to think is, looking at things like Overwatch 3v3 versus 6v6. Looking at League of Legends not from a let's play all three lanes, but we're going to play one lane up the middle and just do it that way. There's mobile games, and let's think asynchronously. So again, the Minecraft absolutely. Masters that NASEF is doing, I think is an important way to start thinking about things that we can do in asynchronous situations. And as you talked about, why are we all laughing?
The cat. I don't know where mine is. She usually does the same thing. She's like right here in my camera.
Oh yeah, she's like hello.
Yeah.
Carrie, final thoughts.
I think the takeaway this week is if you haven't diversified your PLN, please do so. That way, when things come out and you're like, you're just feeling a little off, you've got people that you can slide into their DMs and go, hey, did you see this? And you can get their point of view. I feel like had the developers of Gamer Girl had that, we wouldn't have seen this game produced. And as people who teach gaming, we're promoting studios, we're promoting, these works, and we have a certain responsibility to do that in an ethical way. And I think that helps. Like if you've got a title and you're on the fence about it, talk to the people who are represented within that game and see how they feel about their representation in that game. And if you don't have a diverse, group of people around you, you're not going to be able to get usable feedback. So if you haven't already diversified, please start doing that now.
All right, that takes us. We got 2 minutes left, and I'm still off on timing. Gosh, we're actually wrapping up like a little bit on time.
We never finish early. Like
I know.
No, but what we can say though is that Angelique, thank you so much for jumping in today.
Absolutely. It was great.
I love it. I had a great time.
And we're talking about how we can again diversifying other voices, bringing other voices into this chat on Thursday night. Even if I have to just sit back and be the person who just makes the chat go and just hang out and moderate, I can happily do that. But we'll be reaching out to some people we would love to have come in and fill in, because we want to make sure that this doesn't get stale, that it's not the same that, again, we have some other ideas and thoughts and feelings coming into this. So if you get a DM from one of us saying, hey, would you be interested in? Come with us. Yeah, come hang out with us.
Come join us.
Cool kids club. Right? Kevin says, any conferences you'll be attending? UCI in October. I will be attending that.
I'm gonna try and make that one. I'm not presenting at anything soon.
I thought you froze at first, Carrie.
I know, me too. I'm thinking of I know we've got tomorrow doesn't count.
Oh yeah, we do have that tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. We do. But nobody's going to be going.
Oh, I went into no. I was in.
Was there people there?
I popped
was it
in
actually?
Yeah, there was about 50 people in there.
Well, we're presenting tomorrow
at Tech and Learning. The
Tech and Learning.
So it's
and then
me, Chris Avilas, and Mark Deppy.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to try to
Fancy.
attend the UCI because I wanted to make the on-site event last year and I didn't. So I should be able to make it digitally. I'm back.
Yeah.
No, you didn't go
No,
anywhere.
you're good.
I went.
Your picture froze, but your
Yeah.
voice didn't freeze. Yeah.
Yeah, and I, you know what though, I don't know if I'll present this year, but I would be I'm going to attend at least the conference for the UCI conference. But I'm going to be honest with some people. Presenting is hard, and sometimes you just get my brain is such pudding right now with reentry planning. I mean,
yeah.
For some of you who I know that look, as you get ready to do your reentry, and I know we bitch and moan and everybody complains about it, but as you get ready to do your reentry, have patience and have some forgiveness for a lot of people, because there are going to be people who are just going to drop the ball. I am scared to death.
Absolutely.
I am scared to death to the next 6 weeks, to be honest. And
yeah.
So.
And that's what I was saying. And I know we went over, but that's the conversation that Kevin and I had earlier. When I said it's a good time for esports, what I meant with that is you don't have to start any clubs or buy anything. Take this time to develop what your framework is, what that looks like. Take the time to study, join an affiliation if you can, and just to see what all of this looks like. You can do this in a remote learning setting. You don't have to necessarily go out and buy the equipment. You can look at YouTube activities and whatnot. So it's a great time to just look and see what's going on out there. And principals right now, they're not thinking. They're only thinking like moment to moment right now. Like they're not even thinking esports. They're not even thinking football. They're just thinking about just hiring.
It's just surviving the year. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
and I mean, I think that's for a lot of us too.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to make it through? But I also think I don't want to say like blessed with this time, but in my opinion, I felt semi-blessed with this time because I've had so much more time to just like sit and learn and play games and figure out how I'm going to integrate it into my classroom and like toy with all these ideas. Whereas I normally would be, I don't know, off vacationing or something. So terrible. Yeah. But like,
where do people in San Diego go for vacation?
You'd be surprised. No. Beachside, California really loves a vacation.
I don't go to the beach here because all y'all are at the beach
either. Yeah, I don't want to be there. I don't go to the beach here either. I can see it from my house, and I don't. I think I've gone maybe like 5 times in 15 years.
We have I will tell you this: if you are tired of the salt air, because God knows I'm not, but if you are, we do have a world-class fresh water on Lake Michigan beach in Racine, Wisconsin. It groomed sand, like no high waves. You can literally just walk into it, and it's cool all year round. I mean,
I miss a good lake. I mean, water's nice. The only water we have is salt water. Everything else is like parched
with like trash floating around.
No,
I was supposed to be in Europe this whole summer, but it's fine. Everything happens for a reason. I learned lots of cool stuff, so it's cool.
All right. And just a reminder again, because I know Jarrell and Kevin are in the chat, NASEF Scholastic Fellow Program is going on. Their close date is July 31st. Do not wait until July 31st to get your stuff together, because you need to get an admin letter. So make sure you get that admin letter. And
And you got to write a bunch. You got to make a quick Flipgrid video. Send that email right now to your admin. Super easy.
Yep.
Definitely recommend it.
All right. Next week we'll have the chat issue sorted so I can actually follow along with, because I'm 10 minutes behind on everybody.
It's kind of been flying today, so it's been
chat's
but
been
look,
yeah.
but we had over 20 people here for most.
Oh yeah, this was
our biggest crowd yet.
And I'm curious as to, like, I definitely feel like I've seen some YouTube comments pop in here too, because the thing I love about the chat is it shows you YouTube versus Twitch. Most everybody seems like they're Twitch.
I had to
earlier on.
I had to ban comments in the YouTube. So this was an experiment and it worked, and now I'll stop doing that. All right. All right. That's it.
Thanks
We're
for ditching your meeting, Kevin. Kevin said he ditched a meeting to hang out with us.
Oh, yay.
All All right, we're going to be closing up. If, though, you are interested, 8 o'clock my time or at the top of the hour, I will be getting back into League of, dang it, not League of
Zelda.
Legend of Zelda, yes.
League of Zelda.
League of Zelda.
The League of Zelda.
Don't give anybody ideas because they'll take it.
Yeah.
Games.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. And we'll check in again
Bye,
next
everybody.
week.